change it up. So I want to talk to you a little bit about sewing patterns and what I'm sewing already for this summer, what I'm taking with me on a trip to Europe as a capsule wardrobe that I've sewn, and also what I'm planning. So let's dive right in. So first off, right behind me here is the Sewing Workshop Tremont jacket, and I'm going to put this up so you guys can see it. But that's what that looks like there. So it's an asymmetrical jacket, and I saw a similar one from a fellow sewing blogger who did a really nice version of, not the Tremont jacket, but a different one, the Sienna Maker jacket, but she converted it to this kimono style collar. And I thought, you know, I've already got that. And I have it in the Tremont jacket. So what I've done here is I have used black fusible interfacing. And the cool thing about the Tremont is you cut all the pieces flat, so this makes it perfect. So I just cut it with the sticky side up, the fusible side up, and then I cut out strips of fabric and I just applied them, pressed them down, and then I stitched around them with all those weird stitches on my sewing machine. So it came out super cool. Never used any of those stitches before. Pretty much I use like 1, 2, and 3, and then I use like 26, and that's it. Otherwise, all those ones in the middle, like 14 and 15 and all those other ones, I never used those. I used them on this jacket, so that was a lot of fun. And I'll just give you a little view of the back here. So that's what that looks like. Now the Tremont is kind of cool because it has these vents on the side and miters. I hand sewed the miters. This is much too thick to do a regular miter. And I also varied from the pattern in that I made the sleeves full length. You can obviously turn them up as well as a little turn up cuff like this if you wanted to. But I left them full length because this really felt to me like a fall jacket. It's pretty heavyweight. And the normal Tremont jacket is designed for, you know, light to medium weight fabrics like wool or silk or linen or cotton or something like that. So I like it. It's got a really cool Japanese vibe, and I've selected a button. So you'll definitely see a post from me on what button I've selected. And then this is going to my local community is having a scrap fest where they're featuring garments made from scraps, and this garment is going to go with it. So I won't be here for it because I'm going to be traveling, and that's the next thing I'm coming up with is what am I doing, where am I going, and what things that I made am I taking with me. So my daughter is in Europe on an overseas study right now. She's in high school. We're picking her up in Germany. We'll be spending a couple of days, about 5 days in Czechia, a couple different locations, and then we'll be spending some time in Austria, in both Vienna and Hallstatt, which is in the Alps. So we've got a really nice trip. We'll be going back through to Germany and then flying home for about 12 days. So that's our trip. So, you know, a mix of sightseeing, culture, museums, castles, palaces, cafes, beer gardens. So I've got a mix of things. And so I want to show you a couple things that I am taking with me that I've sewn, and how I'm mixing them with other things that I have in my wardrobe. And then I'll share with you what I'm sewing in August when I get back, or in late July when I get back. So one of the first pieces I'm taking is a self-drafted but widely available shirt tail hem skirt. I like the hot pattern shirt tail hem skirt, but I also have a how-to on how to do this skirt on my blog. This is super simple. You can actually do it using a plate to create the curved hem. And then a pro tip, you actually should sew the hem first before you serge the side seams, and then serge the side seams from the bottom up. Makes it a lot easier to get this curve so you don't have to go around the corner for that. So this is a super easy, super lightweight skirt. I've over dyed it in a twist dye. This is just like an oatmeal color rayon lycra, and I've over dyed it to get this, this look here. So that's cool. The second piece I'm taking with me is actually going to look really similar, and that it's all the same fabrics from this. So I used the Antero shell from Sew News. This is a cropped boxy top. It's not cropped in that it's going to show my belly. It's just cropped in that it's not a long top. It's got a nice V-neck and some piecing. And I've used it in this blue linen, and then I've used some hand-dyed Kona cotton fabric that I have for the rest of that. So that's going with me. And then, you know, just for good measure, I made a black one. Also same thing, Antero shell. This one I made out of black linen, and then this linen cotton called Warehouse District. I think it's from Kaufman Fabrics. Maybe Merchant Mills, I can't remember. And it did a fun little pocket on the front, so that's cool. This will go with some black shorts that I already made, Emerson's from True Bias. And then I dug into my old patterns last year for a pair of out of print but, you know, wide wider leg pants with some taper, and I've done a variety of different things on the bottom of this, and I've settled right now, because I can still take this out, I've settled right now for a cropped version of these pants with a little pleat at the hem. You can see the little pleat right there, and originally I stitched the pleat down, but I didn't really like it, so I unstitched the pleat down, and these are going with me as a pair of lightweight linen pants. They have pockets in the back. These were from a really old Butterick, I think. I added a drawstring elastic waist, meaning that I sewed the drawstring to the elastic, and then so the drawstring can be adjusted, and then I just have it tied here in the front. So these are the ones that are going with me. Now I'm also adding in the Emerson shorts, as I mentioned. I have a pair of PH shorts as well that I'm taking with me, and I'm planning on I still have 4 days, you guys. I still have 4 days before I'm leaving. Plenty of time, and I don't have to work or do any other thing in the meantime with any of those days, do I? No. Anyway, I still have 4 days. So I'm thinking of also making a top using a prototype pattern that Normandy Designs has come out with. It is a boat neck top with a wider kimono style sleeve. Again, cropped but not cropped, right? You know, here but not here. And then a little vents on the side, along with the very famous Normandy flat fell seaming on the side and the vent construction. So my plan is to work on that, and I'm going to show you a couple fabrics I'm thinking about for that. Look at this one, this ikat print here. Isn't this awesome? So the cool thing about the Normandy top is the shoulder seam is on the fold. So when you cut the t-shirt out, imagine like this, right? Sleeves go down to here, right? Imagine this. So you essentially are cutting the sleeve on the fold. So the t-shirt's cut flat like this. So I'll be able to do something like that, basically, for this t-shirt. I have a lot more than I probably need, but this may shrink, and I'm gonna need some for bias neck binding. So there's that. So that's a really cool ikat print, and I do have all the colors, you know, in the wardrobe. Obviously would work with this because this is every color in the wardrobe. So this is a lot of fun. So this may go with me. I need to make a sample first in another fabric, maybe even muslin, before I do anything else. So I'll be working on that. I'm going to be pre-washing this afternoon, and then I'll be making the same thing in this lightweight linen in this blue color. In the Normandy top. I might do the tunic version because there's a cropped version and there's a tunic version, so it's a little longer. I might do the tunic version in this one, so decide on that. And then I did buy some additional fabric to do an Ogden Cami. I know it's like the most popular camisole like ever in the sewing world, and look at this incredibly bright fabric. Totally uncharacteristically me. This doesn't go with anything here. Maybe those blue pants, but this doesn't go with anything. But I don't know, I saw it and it looks like a watercolor painting or an oil painting, and I thought, you know what, I'm gonna go with it. I've got fuchsia pants if I really want to go screaming bright, but I've also got black and a lot of other neutral colors that would look nice for this. So I'm gonna try again the Ogden Cami, and I'm actually gonna be swapping my standard size one for the curvy one, because the curvy one has darts. And when you have a bust that's 7 inches between here and here, 7 inch up, it's really hard to fit without doing a full bust adjustment, and I think I also need the dart. So the dart doesn't come in the standard size version, but I think if I make the smallest size in the curvy girl version, that I can get away because they'll have the bust darts and the fullness that I need in the bust. So we'll see about that. Now when I come back, I have 2 other patterns that I'm going to be making as well. These I'm calling my late summer blast. I'll be making these in late July, early August. One is this one from Nomi, top and skirt. I love the neckline of that top. This isn't a knit, and that's a fun curved button band on that skirt. It's a full button band too, by the way, but I might actually sew it closed until like above the thigh. And then this one, the Wave Set by the Handmade Millennial. Isn't this awesome? This is really cool. So that one might be one that I end up doing as well. So those are my choices for sewing. I will share a little bit more about pictures on the trip and give you a little preview of some things in Czechia, things that I'm wearing and how things perform. I'm confident in all the things I'm taking, and I do want to point that out. Never take an untested garment, ever. I've worn the Emersons a lot, I've worn the Pietros a lot. I've taken them my dog's getting into something in the kitchen. Does your dog ever do that? And you're like, what are you getting into? Anyway, hopefully he's behaving himself in there. But I feel that if you take an untested garment, you are asking for trouble. So don't do that. Everything I'm taking, I have made before, I have worn before. They are all tried and true garments. So I'm not taking anything I haven't already worn, which is great, but I'm taking a lot of things that I have worn and a lot of things I've made too, including things I made 10 or 15 years ago. So there it is. That's my midsummer sewing update. One addition to my midsummer sewing update that I totally forgot. I sewed the Normandy slip dress, and there is a fabulous sew along on the Normandy blog with yours truly on there that you can try. It is a very simple to sew dress, so if you've never made a garment before, it's a good one to start with because it's really simple. So go check that out at Ann Normandy Sewing Patterns, ann-normandy.com. It's a great dress. I have it in like a bright aqua teal color, actually turquoise is probably the best example. I have it in bright turquoise. And I want you to check it out because it's a really cool dress. It fits really well, it's linen, it floats away from the body, it's going to be perfect for travel. Yes, I'm taking linen for travel, go figure. When you wash linen 3 or 4 times and then throw it in your dryer, it gets like a permanently, lightly, crinkly texture, but it doesn't give you those hard wrinkles that you associate with, you know, really heavily pressed linen, right? It gives you a soft look. So don't shy away from linen for travel. It's a great fabric for travel. It's breathable. It's hard wearing. It is good if you're sweaty, and especially during travel, even if it's not a hot day, you're going to be sweaty. So it's perfect for that. So definitely check that out. That's the Ann Normandy slip dress sewing pattern on her blog. She's got a sew along. I'm featured in the sew along, and hopefully I'll be doing some additional sew alongs for Kim, the designer of Ann Normandy patterns. So hopefully you check that out. That's my sewing addendum for my summer sewing update. So if you have any questions, post in the comments or send me a message on Instagram. I'm happy to answer any questions. If you want to see me sew something, I'm happy to do that. There's a couple new things coming up in August that I'll be doing. A freebie pattern for a little blouse and tube top. The strapless top is back. For a lot of the designers that are showing it though, they're showing the strapless tube, more or less. I mean, it's a little longer than a tube, but the midriff is bare and then you wear it with wide leg pants. For those of us whose midriffs maybe aren't so svelte, as we used to be, we might want something else. And this great blouse and tube top will be a totally free pattern. Great little blouse and tube top actually comes and hits you at the waist, at the top of your elastic waistband, wide leg pants. This is what I'm supposed to be doing right now. What do you think? But it also blouses over in the front, so it kind of hides any of that midsection, but still gives you the nice, off, no shoulder, coverage, lots of opportunity for getting some sun on your shoulders. So definitely check that out. It'll be up in August, likely the first week of August. I'll post it on the blog. It's time for me to go do this.